Welcome, boys and girls, to another episode of me reviewing an obscure manga. If you don't know who I am, I'm the Great Banana, and today we're going to be talking about Homunculus. And let's just talk about Homunculus for a bit, because this story just starts off crazy, so let's get right into it. Alrighty, so have you ever felt like you don't belong in this world? Like, you don't belong in any world? This is how our main character feels in Homunculus. Now, a little insight about this man: he's homeless, he lives in his car, and he's basically the essential doomer. My man is the doomer. We're talking like smoking cigarettes, wearing a beanie, taking long walks, and just like, I don't want to live in this world. So yeah, that's our main character in a nutshell. Now the story kicks off when my man I'm gonna butcher this. I'm so sorry, guys, if you know how to like pronounce Sasumo Nakoshi is like he gets like hit up by a medical man, Mr. Ito, and he's like, "Yo, I've been reading about if you drill a hole in your skull, like you get psychic powers. And here's a lot of money if you do it. I just get to record the results." And at first, like the story's like questioning, like, is this morally right? Should I sell my body to get like a hole drilled in my skull? And as we know, like yeah, of course you should. You should always sell yourself to get like a hole drilled into your skull. Because I mean, if you don't die, that's a cool party trick. Just being like, I got a shot glass in the back of my head, you know. Anyhow, my man finally grows the courage and goes, all right, fine, let's just drill the hole in the back of my skull. Does it? Fine. My man gets the trepidation done. Sweet. Booyah. Money. Rolling in it. Um, Little does he know that my man starts getting like psychic visions. And this is where the whole homunculus idea comes in. To where what he's seeing is reflections of people's inner selves and like what they're dealing with. One thing is like there's a mobster or a yakuza, and his whole thing is our main character, who I will call Mr. Trepidation. Mr. Trepidation um can only see these out of one side of his eye, so he looks at him and he's like, "Holy crap, that dude's a big mecha." And the whole point is he's a mecha because and there's a child inside the mecha. And as he starts like solving the man and like breaking down he's basically, this manga is like baby's first step into like meta therapy. Like, I don't know. It's very hard to explain. That's basically a plot synopsis in my own crackhead language. So anyhow, let me give you guys a little info on the manga itself. This manga is not for everybody. It is can get very disturbing. There's gore. I mean, it's not just that. Like, there's a scene where my man actually just busts a nut and eats it because he wants to feel alive. So yeah, if you're not into stories like that, don't read it. If you didn't like Jagan, don't read this. And that's just me saying that for your sake, because personally, I love stories like this. It gives you intro into the psyche and like kind of like, whoa, I wish the world really worked like that with metaphysics. But in a story, it's the sense of wanting to be alive. And this is another story where I found it and I was like, wow, this is crazy, dog. And you're just enthralled. I was enthralled. Like, I read the whole thing in one setting. Um, Now, once again, it's very graphic. There's a lot of subjects that kind of get like fumbled and misrepresented. So if you're like very stern about this is how, like Mr. Ito has a trans identity is what we're talking about, and it gets explored. Um, it's very different, very different. But I highly recommend it if you're into psychological thrillers. I'm about to get into like spoiler territory, so please just skip to like the 7 minute mark if you guys don't want to be spoiled about this whole story. Cause yeah, let's jump right into spoilers, cause I know you guys love spoilers. So as Mr. Trepidation gets more used to his ability, he stops seeing the homunculus, and he's like, "Huh, I need more holes in my head." So my man like keeps drilling holes in his head because he wants to see these things. Because as the story goes on, we learn that they're not just a reflection of people, but he reflects himself into them to where like he's learning more about himself and he's learning how to be alive, which is crazy. And I mean, good for him, right? He's learning about himself. That's the whole point of life. But my man literally goes off the deep end around like out of nowhere. Like it's crazy. Well, he just snaps. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to drill a hole in my head and we're going to pray it doesn't get infected." My man does that. The visions are too strong. My man's like, "I'm going to cut off my senses." Sews his eyes shut. That's another thing that happens before he drills the big hole in his head. But he's just so obsessed with drilling holes, and he wants other people to see it. So he's like, having making hanky panky with a woman, and he was like, I want her to see what I see, because she saw true beauty in me. So he drills a hole in the back of her head and kills her. So he's now a murderer, and he goes off the deep end, and he just like uh long story short, he goes back to living in a car. He's by the seaside. He's going to be arrested. My man, he only wants to live in the world of Homunculus. So he's wearing an eye patch now. He looks pretty cool. Mr. Ito, the scientist, goes in, talks to him, gets killed because he's like, I want you to see what I saw and what you put me through. So, yeah, there's that. That's how crazy this story is. This story's a wild ride. I would highly recommend it though if you're just like bored and you just need like it's not a quick read. I just devoted the whole day to reading it because I was so enthralled. But yeah, so let's just jump. This is me coming out of the spoiler zone. Coming out of the spoiler zone in 3, 2, 1. So yeah, I would highly recommend this as a good seinen psychological thriller. Baby, don't ever use any of this medical stuff. It's not. It's like meta a psychology. So don't ever be like, I know how to be a doctor because I read Homunculus once. And don't be a nerd. So don't be a doctor. I don't know. Be a doctor if you want to. Anyhow, I would highly recommend this story. It's short. It's nice and easy. It's an easy read. I would recommend it at a 5th grade level. If you can read at a 5th grade level, you can read this. Um, Other than that, I would like to thank you guys for watching the video this long. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. That really like helps me out, gets me the hypes. Gets We're trying to hit 100 subscribers and like hopefully by the end of this month, and then we're gonna shoot for 1,000. Once we hit 1,000, I'll show you guys my face. Other than that, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Go read Homunculus. Go read it right now. I don't care about anything besides that. If you're into stories like this, please go read Homunculus.